Well, if there's one politician that people in Johannesburg don't like at the moment, it's Gayton McKenzie. He's given the mayorship of an incoherent fellow whose party got less than 10,000 votes out of 933,000. He's the new mayor of Johannesburg, and he runs a budget of 73 billion rand. We'll find out from Mr. McKenzie exactly why the Kingmaker decided to make this individual fellow a king in just a moment. Gayton, I see you smiling at my intro. The Kingmaker. You've chosen a very strange fellow to put into the main role.
What a intro, Alec.
So where did you find this guy? Where did Al Jamar find this fellow? He's in his 40s. We've never heard of him before. He's incoherent. He certainly doesn't look like the guy that I would give a spaza shop to run, let alone a 73 billion rand budget. The ratepayers of Johannesburg are furious, and they're directing a lot of their fury at you. And everything we hear about you is not good, so you need to help us out here. What were you thinking?
All right, no, thank you, Alec. I think firstly is that every happiness or unhappiness may be behind it, or there's a different story. My people are very happy with me. The people that elected me are very happy with the decision. You don't need to even go far. Go to the national page of the Patriotic Alliance to see how happy people are with the decision. The people that are unhappy obviously are the DA supporters and the Action SA supporters, and they've got a right to be unhappy. I mean, they've lost power because of a decision that I ultimately took as the leader of the PA. As far as where do we get the fellow is that, I'm the first to admit that I've watched 2 interviews of him, and it wasn't the best. In fact, it was the worst interviews I've seen. And I'm really shocked. I think he's in shock or something, because I know this gentleman. I've worked with this gentleman for more than 5 years. He's one of the brightest guys that we have there in council. Arguments. I'm just asking myself. I tried to call him yesterday and say, man, Mayor, come down. Because that's just not the person. We are all shocked, because you're not wrong to say he's been sounding very weird and stupid. But he is not, I can assure you. You can go back to previous arguments he had in the council. And he was a bright star there. So I hope that it is maybe just mayoral jittery.
But let's look at the facts. And you're going to have to explain this, because you've got a big election coming up in 2024. This party that this Thapelo Amad represents got less than 10,000 votes out of 933,000, so around 1%. It got 6,700 of those votes in a single ward, yet it contested all of those 135 wards. So it got 135 wards, it got in more than a third of those, almost half of them, it got like 4 votes or 3 votes. So the people of Johannesburg who did not vote for this person now have him thrust upon them as the mayor, as their leader. Are you going to be surprised to see that the semigration statistics just surge? And those are ratepayers. Those are the people who are actually paying the salaries of the public servants in Johannesburg. So here we are. You can say, well, maybe he's smarter than he appears. The public only has one perception of him right now, and it's not a good one. And then they're looking to you and they're saying, well, what do you stand for? Because you have put this, by being the Kingmaker, you have put this chap who does not represent the people of Johannesburg into the most powerful position. And I think that's really what it's all about. What went on behind the scenes here?
All right, just before I tell you what went on behind the scenes, I think there's this new thing that particularly white people, they seem to lately get very emotional about stuff, and that's totally unlike them. They used to, in my opinion, used to be guys that would listen and think about stuff, but now it's like I see this herd mentality happening, particularly in the white community, like, oh, no, you can't have this. How could they give Joburg away? I don't know where the white people get this thing, and I'm not going to entertain that bred behavior. Let me explain why I call it bred behavior. The facts are, let's go to the facts. Let's leave the emotion, Alec. In Joburg municipality, Joburg had a mayor from a party called Joburg Easter, although the DA got the majority of the votes. We are the mayor in TVK, Grabouw, Tiwaterskloof, although we didn't get the most votes. That is how coalition negotiations go. It is never about, and I'm just giving you cold facts, not emotional hoo-ha. This is how coalitions work. You go into a room, you make a deal, and after we've made the deal, in the deal it's not only a fact that now you got we just check to say, we don't trust the EFF, we don't trust the ANC, they don't trust the PA, the EFF don't trust the PA, the ANC don't trust the PA. So we then find a compromise. Now, if you're used to not compromising, you'll be shocked at the compromise decision because that's not in your nature to compromise. Now, he was a compromise candidate because we didn't trust the ANC didn't trust us, we didn't trust the EFF didn't trust us to lead, and we then said, all right, okay, let us get a compromise candidate that we are all comfortable with. It might not be our choice, but we are comfortable with it. Then number two, let me give you behind the scenes what happened here. And these are the facts. These are not these are not thumbsuck facts. These are facts that has happened. We were part of the coalition. When this coalition started, we were part of this coalition. Helen Zeller approached me twice in Johannesburg and John Steenhuisen. Hey, Gayton, please, man, come and be part of us. I said, but I need 2 MMCs. Now, Gayton, listen, let's just check first how you behave, please, man. I said, no, I don't like that word, how I behave. But you know what? Let me join you guys. I then joined them with 1 MMC. Was there for helping, voting with them, just generally doing well. Then Action SA then said, listen, I think we should give up the speaker position because they're the most horrible speaker. The DA. The man was just weak, Vasco da Gama. Extremely weak. And we were and the DA then, we said, Action SA then said, let's give between IFP and the PA the speaker. Which we then said to IFP, all right, you want the speaker so badly, we will take another MMC position, and then you take the speaker. That was now to fortify the coalition. And that didn't happen. The DA refused then. I then said, I will leave if you don't do it. They didn't do it. We left. We were minding our business, being on holiday during December. I was then approached by Reverend Kenneth Meshu, Action SA, Herman Mashaba, and Corny Mulder. Gayton, we hear that you are talking to the ANC. We can't have that. I said, yes, I am talking to the ANC. But you can't, please, man, come talk to us rather. I said, what do you put on the table? And I don't want us to speak without the DA being present because I know how the DA operates. They then sent a gentleman called Fred Nell, I met him for the first time, and Thomas Walters to represent us, to represent the DA in the meeting. In that meeting, I asked for EISD as a Department of Environmental and Infrastructure, and I asked for Economic Development. And the DA, Action SA then went back. And the DA went back and he said, man, we can't give you any one of those two. This is a negotiation. We can't give you any one of those two, but what we can do, we can give you, Action SA says, I'm willing to give you our 2 positions, which is Economic Development and which is, it was Roads and Transport. I then said, you know what? I would like to see this thing working. I will accept it. So I moved from my original position. I will accept it. Fine. Deal. I'm happy. Call up the ANC. I said, sorry, I've made a deal. And I've made a deal. I opened the Sunday papers. Fred Nell and Walters were in the meeting and we've agreed basically all they needed to do was just for Helen Zeller and them the FedEx. to ratify. Now, that's another problem I want to speak about, that FedEx situation. For me, I've already told my people we are going with the DA. I've made a public announcement for them to come out and say, now, these guys are criminals and we can't work with them. I'm like, okay, now, just there, every time we have a deal, a letter comes out from the DA. Last time a letter came out from Swelling Msimanga, a week calling us some trading marbles and insulting all coalition partners, calling us Judases. This time there's another letter coming out. Now, you must understand how the DA is viewed from a perspective of mostly colored people. We view them as bus cup mentality. Now, when they start making these allegations and accusing us of we are going to steal, now here's the question. They want to give us, they say we can't have economic development because we're going to steal the 850 million budget. Number one, we are running TVK and that place got a clean audit. I took over the mess of the DA in Central Karoo and the mess of the ANC. Look at that place, it's shining today. I got a clean audit. Now, why am I mentioning these things? On what basis do they make the allegation? If you think I'm a thief, maybe you have a right to think because of my past, I might steal. It's a logical thing maybe to think. But I've got people in my party, there's probably 2 or 3 of us that was once in jail, but they're respectable, God-fearing, there's actuaries, there's accountants, there's really good men and women of society in. But if you're going to brand all of them as thieves, that is deeply offensive, racist.
I saw that. And I wondered, and that's really quite an important issue here. In politics, you guys seem to insult each other. And I thought, well, that's fine. But that you can do in a political forum and get away with it because you can't be sued. But surely that kind of a statement, if I was sitting in your shoes, I would look at it and say, hang on, but this is defamatory. This is saying that we can't have portfolios because we're thieves, we're going to steal from that portfolio. I was very, very surprised to see that and wondered what must have happened behind the scene, as I think most people would, for that kind of inflammatory language to be thrown around. But defamatory language, forget inflammatory. How bad are things between the two of you that you would come out or that you would have a statement like that issued?
More bizarre, let me tell you what's more bizarre than what you just mentioned. They say they can't give us economic development because there's too much money, 850 million. For them to come back 2 days through Michael Howard, Thomas Walters, to say to us, we're giving you roads and transport. This is 2 days after the letter, which is 5 billion. Now, I want to show you the bizarre. It's like, no, I don't trust you with this 20 rand. But here's 1,000. I might trust you with this. It shows you it was not a rational decision. And more than that, Thomas Walters then says in a meeting to me, yeah, we know you are talking to the ANC. And I turn around in that meeting and everybody was there. Courtney Mulder was there, but I said to him that the time where particularly white people tell me who to meet, I'm not my father. You don't tell me who to speak to. I speak to who I want. What gives you a right? Now, here's my biggest gripe with the people that are unhappy with me. Here's my biggest gripe with them. And I'm not going to be the punching bag. Here's my biggest gripe. The DA, Helen Ziller, is on record, saying that they will work with the ANC possibly in 2024. She's on record on that. John Steenhuisen is on record saying 2024, they might work with the ANC. Now, you see where the bus cup mentality comes in is that, well, we can work with the ANC, but you cannot work with the ANC. Now, what is the difference? We are the only party that is on record of saying that we will work with whoever we want to. We don't have creed or color. I even went on record before the election say I will work with the AAWB if they still existed. We were the only party that was honest that who we will work with. Now they come and say Yeah, you're working with the ANC. I don't share the same sentiments about African National Congress that they share. I work with the ANC in Central Karoo. I've worked with the DA very nicely. The problem here was in Popalati. And that is where you see the dirtiness of politics. You know, I must begrudgingly, and I must mention begrudgingly because he's one of my strongest opponents in politics. I must begrudgingly today take my head off to Herman Mashaba. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I want to say to him that I've never seen a man does everything in his power to save a coalition like that gentleman has done. I was shocked. I mean, he was tripping himself basically naked position-wise and say, you take it. We cannot afford to have the African National Congress back. That was his words. And I want to say to him that I feel so bad with the fact that he failed because I saw, and I would tell people what Herman Mashaba did was beyond phenomenal. And my people probably thinking, why is he praising Mashaba? But the truth is the truth. Herman Mashaba, Corny Mulder, I think those guys, and Michael Bowman, they went to the end of the earth to try to save this thing. Back to Mpopalati. Mpopalati has lifted up a hand as wanting to lead the DA. Now the DA is in a hell of a fix, Alec, let me tell you. You see, they're in a hell of a problem because they've been accused of shooting down black people and firing them and sending them to Harvard. In the black community, there's a saying, when you criticize the DA as a DA member, they will say, you're going to Harvard. That's just a saying in our community. Because everybody who seems to criticize them end up being at Harvard. So I actually want to join the DA so I can get a free Harvard course and start criticizing them. But Popalati was the target here. Look at how the DA is trying everything currently. I think they failed last night at around 11 p.m. To save Tanya in Ekurhuleni. They went to court. I want to show you the difference between the two mayors. Tanya's white and Popalati is black. They went to court. They interdicted council. They went to great lengths for the Speaker of the DA refusing to have the vote of no confidence on three council meetings. I mean, they really tried their level best. Last night they walked out in disgust in Ekurhuleni. Eventually they lost and there's a new speaker from the EFF. But then you juxtapose that with what's happening in Joburg. And Popalati was left out. She was not even allowed in the room. While you have Fred Nell, you have Thomas Walters, you have Solim Simang, but the person mostly affected was not in the room to give her perspective. Nobody asked for opinion, and this is not my words. This is what I've seen and what she's confirmed. They've done nothing, and the only reason why they did nothing was not because she's black. They did nothing because she challenged John Steenhuisen, because they wanted her not to get that profile of being the one turning around the city of Johannesburg. Then people will go like, maybe we've got somebody here. Maybe John, you give this lady a chance. She might attract the black votes.
So it's a little bit of collateral damage the people of Johannesburg are now, as a result of infighting at the biggest political party in the coalition. Is that the way you're seeing it?
Yes, that's the only way I differ was she's not a little. It's a massive. The thing is, they're looking for a scapegoat. Now, and I'm not talking about these emotional guys that is so emotional about issues. But I'm talking about thinkers here. I'm talking to thinkers in your listeners that are real thinkers. How do you blame me? What have I done? You brought a deal to me. I'm a businessman before I'm a politician. I made my money through business and not getting a salary from politics. If you bring a deal to me and I accept the deal, we shake hands on the deal. It's a deal. The lawyers will come later and do the paperwork. What we've done in the golf course, that's what's going to stand.
My word is my bond.
My word is my bond. You know, Helen Zeller, I make you an example. I go public. I said to Helen Zeller, you need to call in your speaker, the Gama. He's messing with my people in the Rado Park. And she said she'll speak to him. I don't know, did she speak to him? But what happened was he didn't stop. So then I went public and I said, we hate the speaker. We don't like the speaker. We want to. And that same 2 hours after I said that the ANC put a vote of no confidence in the Gama, based on my words, I still went in there and voted for the Gama because my word to Helen is my bond. I still went in as the PA. Imagine complaining about the very same person and you still go in there and I tell all my forces, let's vote for this man because we gave our word. Our word should not be led by emotional outbursts and feelings regarding this person. There's a bigger picture. The DA, nobody wants to call the elephant in the room here is the DA. Freedom Front Plus blames the DA. Action SA blames the DA. ICDP blames the DA. IFP blames the DA. PA blames the DA. But the DA doesn't want to take responsibility. And the followers are like, Gayton sold the metro. How could he? How could your party? We will not vote for him. You didn't vote for me in the first place. You're not my audience. I'm not those type of politicians that say things people want to hear. The people that voted for me are very happy with my decision to go eventually because there's disrespect involved here. We were willing. What must we do? The DA says, Alec, for me, there was just, there was a ball the dash. The DA says, we want him first to prove himself. So, we are the strongest competition of the Democratic Alliance in South Africa. Because Cape Town, they know we're going to take the Western Cape. They know that for a fact. And if they think I'm talking nonsense, why did they, when there's the last 3 by-elections in the Western Cape, they had to go and get the Freedom Front Plus to help them against us. And they beat us with 40 votes. You had the Freedom Front Plus, they had to go and get 2 parties to keep us away from beating them. The most important one, there was a deciding one, was Kensington. That is happening next week, on the 8th of February. The DA deliberately come and say they made a mistake. Why they didn't take part. In the history of democracy, the DA has never made such a mistake. It wasn't a mistake, they're lying. They're lying to the voters. They have looked at the forces to say, is it better to say we've made a mistake and we're not part of it? Or is it better to lose against the PA? And then they took the option of, it's better.
Last time we spoke, you said you took decisions to teach the DA a lesson. Yes. Has the DA yet started learning, in your opinion? In other words, you've expressed it again. There's boss cop, there's arrogance, there's some kind of residue from the past. Is what you're doing now making progress? Because 2024 is just around the corner. And if you have a situation where the PA is the kingmaker there, and it goes with the status quo, there will be very many very disappointed people in South Africa, not surprisingly because of what we've learned from the Zondo Commission and. So help us out here. Is this Rainbow Coalition a dead duck now as far as you're concerned, or are the members learning to appreciate each other or respect each other?
All that members in the Rainbow Coalition, which I must tell you, it's one of the greatest coalitions. But I want to paraphrase a leader of the ANC, which I would not like to embarrass here, but a very senior leader of the ANC said to me, I see you part of the Rainbow Coalition. I said, yeah, are you guys scared? He said, we'll be scared if the DA wasn't there, but for as long as the DA is there, we are not scared. And I was intrigued by that, so I asked him, why are you not scared? He says, because we know nothing will come right there in the Rainbow Coalition. And I thought it was just sour grapes. But if you can see who is the drunk member of the family in the Rainbow Coalition, and Courtney Mulder he's an ultimate gentleman, man. He's a gentleman. He's not a person that will say the things, even Mashaba. But I'm saying to you, the DA is like the drug addict in the Rainbow Coalition. It is just the things they are saying. It's been a man like me to say to me, first prove yourself to me. You must follow my principles. What principles, mother? George T. tells me in the meeting, I stood up and I left. Yes, we share principles. I mean, what principles should I follow George T. principles? Am I crazy? And I would not expect him to follow my principles because he would be crazy to follow my principles. What I'm saying to you to answer your question, something drastic needs to happen. And here's the double-edged sword that he is sitting with. Helen Zille is seen, people see as the problem, and John Steenhuisen. But it's like your top soccer player. Like, listen, Helen Zille is good, believe me, it will be a great day for us in the coalition if she can step down. It will be, I for one will jump for joy if Helen Zille can step down because I think she's a formidable opponent. But it's like, that top soccer player that is behaving in a manner that is not consistent with teamwork. Now, the day is sitting with that problem. The top players, and don't listen to people saying John only has matric and all those things. No, he's smart. He respect and sat down with politicians. He's got people skills that can match that of Zuma. Honestly, he's got that type of relations. He knows how to relate to people, and that's important in politics. Your degree is not important in politics. Your degree is important being an administrator or a bureaucrat, but not in leading party. Now, the DA supporters should turn their anger that they have towards Gayton McKenzie and the Patriotic Alliance to their own party and do some self-searching and say, guys, why don't you allow, there's laws in this country. If we had run the department that they said we will not run, they can't be trusted. We've run the department, I think, for 5-6 months. And we're the only people that brought in the SIU. We're the ones that brought in the SIU. We're the ones that suspended the people at JPC for selling the Gautrain land and all those type of stuff. In 6-7 months, that's what we managed to do. The ANC kicking us out of the coalition was because of our then investigation getting steam. Today, the SIU has got an order regarding Johannesburg Property Company, which we have called in investigators. I was in the offices of the Hawks, I was in the offices of SIU and tell them that this is grand-scale corruption on a scale that I have never witnessed in my entire life in a government department. Now, the DA must just understand, and this is the message for your listeners and for business people here, there's some things that's inevitable. Now, what's inevitable is the ANC is going to lose power. Now, many people, I see the analysts, all of them talking about the ANC is going to get 46, 47. Absolute fresh nonsense. Let me tell you today, that's nonsense. Every analyst that still talk about 47, 48% for the African National Congress doesn't know what they're talking about. The ANC is going to get 37%. And now let me tell you why. If they've done well, they'll get 37%. Now, the reason for that is that, and I want to explain this because I don't see analysts telling people this. You've got two ANCs. You've got Zuma's ANC and you've got Ramaphosa's ANC. Those are the two ANCs that you have. Now, Ramaphosa has been winning consistently in that fight for the past 5 years. Let's say 5 years. He's been winning 5-6 years. Ramaphosa has been winning consistently. Now, what does that mean in this context? It means it's only his people are in the jobs. His people are in the main post. His people although everybody's in the ANC, but all the lucrative posts, the lucrative jobs are held by his people. Which means the Ace Mahashules, the other people are all backbenchers. They are, when I call backbenchers, there's no place where they can dispense of favors and stuff like that, or patronage. Now, those people has been out for 6 years, and then they tried their luck in Nazareth, and they lost. Now, all politicians are very opportunistic, including myself. Politicians will not stay out for another 5 years. So they have two choices at the moment, two choices. Are we going to wait to fight another 5 years, which will take us to 11 years being out in the cold? Or are we going to mount? Are we going to start our own party? And I can tell you that's the choice that they are sitting with at this very moment. Carl Neers went to start the movement. He's just the advanced team. He's a great speaker. He talks very well. He's a great spokesperson. But he's just the one that's been sent in advance to go and feel the what do you call it, the ground. Now he's come back and say the ground is fertile. Now you see what people don't know the most, and this is so controversial for some people, because the most popular man in this country is President Jacob Zuma, whether you like it or not. He's the most popular man in South Africa. Let me tell you why I'm saying that. There's no man that people go for riot, who will go and riot for in South Africa like they did for President Zuma. There's no man that can have every court case of his, thousands of people for 7 years coming to his court cases, standing outside court and waiting. None of us. After the third court case, it will be you and not even your girlfriend, you and your friend. Now, President Zuma, when he leaves, he's like the queen bee. And I say it respectfully when I say queen bee. And the masses will follow him. Now, if you put President Ramaphosa here and President Zuma, instead of to walk in any mall, people are going to flock to President Zuma. Now, he's got people that will live with him. Now, that's why I'm saying the ANC is going to split. And the main split is going to come when Zuma, they were just waiting for the ANC conference in the Free State to see if they can win. They have lost. Ramaphosa has won all positions in the Free. Now, all those people are out of a job. The children are in private school. They are driving the Benzes and the BMWs. Spouses are used to overseas holidays. Now, I don't think they're going to go back to Angry Park. So they got to go back to politics. Hence, I'm saying, in South Africa, what is inevitable is there will be a coalition government that will need us all to be level-headed, so that the ANC can sit and see how to run a country, because I don't think they really know how to successfully run a country. Number two, in the Western Cape, the same thing will happen that's happening nationally. The DA has lost Knysna, the DA has lost Joburg, the DA has lost TWK. So I'm saying to you that the DA used to come and call the by-election days bride days. They would come and have a bride day at a thing because they would win. Those times are over. So South Africa mustn't worry. All that we need to do is to fix the member in the family that is drunk and shows behavior. And the last thing I want to say, like, if you allow me, I've got a friend from Northwest, and two, three friends from Northwest. It's still those white people that wear the comb in the sock and the shorts in the winter. And they're good guys, man. I mean, those guys have really, really helped me. So the guys asked me, "Hey, Gayton, you know what? What is this Chisanyama?" I said, "Come, I'll take you to one." So they visited me, and I took my friends. So my friends was like, I text my friends before I come. I'm like, "Listen, I'm coming with some friends. Please be nice to them." That's all I'm asking. Please be nice. Please be extra nice to them. My friends are always nice to people, but I was like, please be extra nice to them. So these three guys came with me, one of them, because they came and we had a Chisanyama, and my friends was really extra nice to them because of the fact that they are not used to partying with black people. They are not used to this environment. Now, what a DA needs to learn, and the white people particularly in the DA, is that you got to watch what you say around people like us. When you say, we want to first see if you behave, we might interpret that differently than you say it, because our parents were told. Now, those are the sensitivities that I don't think the DA is aware of. When you deal with people from other races, Thomas Walter says to me, you are you talking to the ANC? I know. So, well, it sounds can I not speak to the ANC? Those are the sensitivities and sometimes it's not even from a racist position that they is doing it, but you gotta be aware of if I go anywhere with Rob Hersoff, I tell him, "Rob, just don't speak the way you speak. Just come down." I prepare him for if we go to a party, because Rob's my mate. And I'll be like, "What, Rob shoots from the hip?" Someone go like, telling an ANC minister in his face at a party or at a function, "You guys are corrupt. check ANC. I'm like, you don't do that. He's like, Rob, calm down. Just calm down. But that doesn't mean that you are prescriptive of a person. We don't want to prescribe to the DA. But in such sensitive things like coalitions, the DA needs to really learn to be sensitive about issues. And when those three white guys went back, they're like, yeah, McKenzie, dis baie lekker. Dis volgens lekker in die Chisagama. Ons kom weer. Yes, man, ek het toe, gee my Utemba se nommer. And that for me was, my day was made. But if they came in and they were told like, yeah, we're watching you, used to do this to our parents, used to do this, that would have been an unpleasant experience. So the day makes it very unpleasant for things. So, but don't take the D's word, don't take my word. Ask the people that was there. Call Courtney Mulder, call Herman Mashaba, call Michael Bowman, call Reverend Meshu. Reverend Meshu is an honorable man. He wouldn't come and lie here. We might lie, but he's a man of God, of the cloth. Ask him and he will tell you. The DA needs to get the act together for 2024 so that we can remove the ANC and we have a rainbow coalition and they just put me as the president so I can bring some law and order into this country.
And Rob Hersov will be very happy with that. Gayton, before you go, we've had a really good, we've had a good, honest chat, and thank you as always for giving us your perception and for not varnishing it, telling it as it is. Where does your name come from? Have you got Scottish heritage somewhere going back?
I will tell you, you're probably the first journalist. You're really good. The first journalist to ask me that question. This, what I'm telling you, is a true story. It's not a joke. It's who I am. My grandfather is a Japanese, 100% Japanese man. My grandfather. My grandmother is an Irish woman, 100% Irish. She was a principal of a finishing school in Ireland. And she got a job at Blakey Swart in the Free State farm to teach his daughters how to become ladies. My grandfather, Japanese grandfather, was a stowaway on a ship. And he was getting a job as the horseman, cleaning the horses of the premier, Blakey Swart. They met there. They had a son. And they fell in love, called Stanley McKenzie, which is my dad. My dad then fell in love with a domestic worker called Louisa Siribalo. They then got married, the two of them. So my dad, they had to go to a colored area to bypass all this nonsense laws. And they had me. I was born in Heidedal, in Bloemfontein, in a colored area. So I'm McKenzie from my grandmother's surname, because my grandfather's surname is too difficult to pronounce that and attracted a lot of attention. So yeah, and you see it in my kids. They are like a rainbow nation. The one got green eyes with straight hair. The other one's got my hair, dark as the night. So yeah, it's that's who I'm. I always say to people when I misbehave, it's the different races in me fighting. It's not me. So I'm a weapon of mass destruction.
A fascinating story and a story of hope as well, that we are a rainbow nation, and hopefully we can rediscover that. Thank you, Gayton, for sharing with us. We're looking forward to seeing you at the BizNews conference. That's going to be amazing. I think it's been houseful now for a little while, but many of the BizNews community are really looking forward to how what you have to tell them. But your story today has put as it always does, a different perspective on the headlines, a little bit of level 2 thinking, go beyond the obvious. And it's been interesting to hear your views and perspectives. And Gayton McKenzie is the leader of the Patriotic Alliance. I'm Alec Hogg from BizNews.com.